Ranking the best sub linebackers in Madden 23. We are back here updating my top 10 sub linebackers in Madden 23. Now, right before we do go on ahead, get into the number 10 spot, I do want to go ahead shout out the comment of the day. And I also want to say that sub linebacker is different from a user. Sub linebacker to me is the person that's next to you in the box that is AI controlled. So these are my top 10 choices of who I think is going to play the best in that role. Now, at number 10 right here, I am going to have Patrick Willis because of the fact I always have a middle linebacker on this list, or a linebacker in general, and really the one that I think is actually really great in this game is Patrick Willis. He can be up to 98 speed, obviously not 99 at this point, has great play rec, man in zone above 90, which isn't too common for a lot of linebackers, and for his traits, play ball in air balance, big hitter on yes. We're looking for play ball in air aggressive, but big hitter on yes is a plus. Now, the abilities that I like on him, avalanche for 1, I feel like this does have a lot of turnover value. Can you justify spending it with only 6 AP? That's kind of tough. But if we take a look at his abilities, he can get pick artist and lurker for 0. So he's like the only linebacker in the game that's actually going to animate like a safety with these two abilities right here. And that's why I'm so high on Patrick Willis. He's my favorite linebacker in the game. I did think about having Larry Fitzgerald in this spot, but Justin Simmons for me just has a little bit better stats and also has a better trait than him. I'll explain. Can be up to 99 speed, great play rec, man zone. Block shed and impact blocking aren't great, but they aren't like terrible either, especially for a safety. And this time he has play ball in air aggressive, which I think is a really nice thing to have. Now, the reason why he's ahead of the people I just covered, mid zone KO for 0. I think mid zone is better in the box than deep out zone KO. I think it's going to play a lot more things for you in a zone coverage based scheme. Now, obviously it's not my favorite one for zone coverage. We'll be covering that at my number 2 spot because there's only one card that gets it, but mid zone for 0 is not bad at all. Like it on sub linebackers a lot. This is probably going to be the biggest cop out answer. I'm going to have the golden tickets. And I know you're probably going to hate it because of the fact that there's 4 of them and this really isn't a top 10 anymore, but it was either I have some of these guys on it, some of them off of it, or I have them all on it, and like Justin Simmons doesn't make the list. So they are in a very weird spot for me. And I think the one that people are going to say shouldn't be here is Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, his stats are absolutely amazing, but what people will say is his abilities kind of suck. Lurker and acrobat both for 0. Like I said, I understand him not being on the list, but to me, J-Ron Curse, Israel, and Julius Peppers literally are all going to play the same, especially if they're AI controlled. They get the same exact abilities, have damn near the same exact stats. They're pick artist and acro both for 0. The role I think they're actually pretty solid in is the defense that I run, 3-3 to 3-3 cub, and then they play like 5-yard flats. I feel like they can make some crazy plays. I'm not really that high on acro, but again, I wanted to include them on the list. So yes, I'm giving a big cop-out answer, but to me, this is where they are on the list. They aren't really like top end sub linebackers. I think they're all great users. Yes, I have Trey Lance above the golden tickets for a sub linebacker. Yes, he can be up to 98 speed. He is 6'4". Play rec, man, zone are all great. Block shed, impact blocking, not really like top end. But if we take a look at his traits, doesn't really have the traits I'm looking for either, but he has the abilities that I like to see. Let me explain why he's here. Because if you want to run man, he can do it with deep route KO. If you want to run zone, he can do it with mid zone KO. If you want to stop the AKA X factors, he can do it with tackle supreme. So no matter what you want to do with him, he can do it. Like, I feel like this card just fits in literally any single scheme, and that's why he's really high for me. And he has actually been like one of my best cards, I can't lie. Like, he has played absolutely phenomenal for me. And right after that, I'm gonna have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, big body, 6'3", 255, can be up to 99 speed, 98 excel, has 95 play rec. Great man, great zone, block jet, impact blocking are also really solid as well. This time for his traits, doesn't have big hitter and play ball in air balanced. But let's talk about Derrick Henry's abilities. So avalanche for 2. I've kind of talked about Derrick Henry avalanche a lot. This never comes off. So if you land a hit stick with Derrick Henry, you can get turnovers. But the whole thing is, can you justify spending 2 AP for that? It is kind of tough. But what I also love about this card, the deep out zone KO, that's for like over the top in my opinion. But to me, he's great in a man coverage scheme with deep route KO for 0. He's a sub linebacker that gets 0 AP deep route KO. I think he can do what he does in a man coverage scheme better than Trey Lance. That's why he is ahead of Trey Lance for me. If this avalanche was 1 AP, by the way, I think this card is just like crazy. But yeah, to me, he's a great sub linebacker in a man coverage based scheme. Now on my user video, I got a ton of questions about Reed and my number 2 choice. Here I'm gonna have Ed Reed, and you might be like, why are you covering a 5'11" person for a sub linebacker? To me, like, as a user, height matters, but your AI defenders, it's not like any of them can really guard like a high ball over their head over the middle of the field. To me, I don't notice the difference between Julius Peppers and Ed Reed when the AI controls them and say like a vert hook and someone's trying to like attack the seam, right? I think they'll play damn near the same in regards to what they can pick off and what they can't. I know Julius Peppers is a little bit more scary to throw over, but I'm just saying. And going back to Ed Reed right here. Just amazing physical stats with 99 play rec. I mean, he has 99s basically everywhere. Block shed, impact blocking is also great. This time for his traits, big hitter on yes, play ball and air, aggressive. But this time for Ed Reed for his abilities. So kind of what I was saying about Trey Lance, but minus the tackling ability. He can be great in man with the deep route KO. Also, if you want to run zone with them, mid zone KO for 0 is also really nice. Those are the two things I'd recommend running on him. And I just think with his play rec, his zone, he plays phenomenal. I also love this 96 Ed Reed too. I think this card is going to play absolutely amazing for you. Now at my number 3 spot, I am going to have Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater literally got revealed after I recorded the initial video. Steve Atwater actually took a whole tier of players off the list. Before he came out, I had a ton of players like Dexter Jackson, Cam Chancellor, all in the same tier. And the reason for this was they were my number 9 spot. Cam Chancellor and Dexter Jackson, I think, are great, but not as sub linebackers. And the whole reason for this, like Cam Chancellor, for instance, right? He gets deep out zone KO. In my opinion, in the box, you want mid zone, you want deep route KO. Like these abilities right here are not the best for a sub linebacker, and that's why he's not higher for me. And that's why he's not on the list, but I still think Cam Chancellor is phenomenal. But yeah, back to Steve Atwater right here, 99 speed, 99 zone, going to have that big hitter trait on yes. And for his abilities, he gets pick artist, medium route KO, mid zone, deep out zone KO, enforcer, all for 0. The mid zone KO in a zone coverage based scheme, medium route KO in a man coverage scheme. He can be extremely versatile for you. So he basically took Cam Chancellor, Dexter Jackson, all those type of cards places on the list. Here I'm gonna have Chad Johnson. So Chad Johnson, amazing physical stats, can basically get all these up to 99. Has great play rec, man and zone, 6'1" height. Now the block shed and impact blocking aren't there, but from a coverage standpoint, he is phenomenal. Doesn't have big hitter and has play ball and air balance. From an ability standpoint, he is super interesting. So for just his 0 AP abilities like deep route KO, mid zone KO, exactly what I just said about Ed Reed. But the thing that I think is really interesting on him is getting universal coverage in the box. I've talked about universal a lot on the channel. I even have a whole video with it. And I think universal is the most inconsistent thing in this like inconsistent Madden. So there's times where it's like one step ahead in every single KO. There's times where it's like every single zone KO as well. And you get like boosted reaction time too. It's just like sometimes you can literally throw right at it. And I mean, when I say right at it, like literally right at it, and it just like doesn't work, which is extremely frustrating. But I feel like when it's on, it is great. And that's why he's at number 3 for me. I prefer like if you could get some of the KOs that I like to run KOs over universal, but specifically in the box, there's 2 people that get what I think are the best abilities for in the box players. And at number 2 right here, I'm gonna have Troy P. Troy P, 5'10", 207, has really good physical stats, 95 play rec, great man, great zone, block shed and impact blocking are also really good. This time for his traits, big hitter on yes and play ball in air, aggressive. Now the whole reason he is here, he is the only safety in the game right now to get flat zone KO for 0. He is just an absolutely perfect scheme fit for my defense, where again, 3-3 to 3-3 cub, put him in a flat zone. And the fact that he is the only person in the game, like the only safety right now to get this, like I'll show you real quick. You can see there's 30 discounted players that get it, but a lot of them are either linebackers that can't get a lurker on top of it, or also their cornerbacks. So if we go to free safety, strong safety right here, Troy P is the only one in the game, which I think that is extremely valuable. Being able to get the KOs when they are in those flats is extremely important. At number 1 for me, I'm gonna have Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott is kind of ridiculous. Amazing physical stats, great play rec, man, zone. He's 6', 203. Block shed and impact blocking are also phenomenal. And this time for his traits, big hitter and play ball in air, aggressive. Now finally for his abilities, let's talk about it. So if you do want to run zone, you can run a mid zone on him. Again, in the box, I would run mid zone over deep out zone KO, but he is the best in the box player for a man coverage scheme because of the inside shade for 0. And I think you can totally justify running inside shade and deep route KO for 1 AP. I don't feel like that's crazy at all. In my opinion, he can kind of be like a tight end eraser almost. And I really like the Ronnie Lott and what he can bring to your defense. So that's why he's at the number 1 spot for me. But yeah, y'all, this has been my list of sub linebackers in Madden 23 Ultimate Team. I don't love how this basically isn't a top 10, but to me, there's just so many players that are right around the same level. But this is my thoughts on sub linebackers. And I don't want to give y'all a bad list where like 1 golden ticket's on it. It was more like there's like certain tiers for me and some people are on the same tiers. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, y'all, I hope y'all did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date with the best cards in Madden 23. And if you want to see me use some of these cards live, check the links in the description, hit that Twitch with a follow. We've been grinding the streams over there, so I would really appreciate that. Now, if you don't feel like heading over to Twitch and you want another video to watch, check this one out right here. Keith Byers is insane on a Dolphins theme team.